Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here at our special EXO University seminar in our EXO University seminar room in Vancouver, Canada. And this is being taped for by our AV department, John Kelly, for later distribution as a seminar up on our website, exouniversity.org. We're very happy. I mean, we've sort of started with a launch over these past 10 days, and now if you go to our website, you'll find 3 classes up there. You can preview them, and you know, people are really beginning to look at this, and if people watch all of the classes of our 2012 forum, which will be probably there are 8 forums, and there'll be a number of classes associated with each, and complete the course requirements, you're eligible for an EXO University certificate. And that certificate is very handsome, and it's something that you can put on your resumes and may have educational value for you, employment value for you, or entrepreneurial value for you. You can take it to the bank. You can, you know, you know a bit more about how the world works. And so we're beginning to create. Someone asked me, what is this about? And I had the realization that just that in the same way that sort of there's a people's movement in the courts of, in the tribunals of conscience, which are bringing justice where the court systems are not bringing justice. In the same way, in the educational system, these sort of educational institutions which come out of the popular will to know, such as EXO University, are offering sciences like exosciences, sci-sciences, and exopolitics, precisely the disciplines that the traditional universities and all the curriculum are intentionally excluding. So we're breaking through that, not only at a theoretical level, but we're creating our own credentialing system. So this is what's real. And this is creating the knowledge of the future, and this is creating the credentialing system of the future, and this is creating the value of the future, because it's real and it's not artificial. And it's not based on going into $50,000 of debt every year, which is what Harvard costs now. It costs $50,000 a year. It's based on each class costs about what a latte costs at Starbucks. And you with application. You get a certificate out of it, you get a credential, and then you make out of it what you will. And our world is real, and the world of the Matrix is virtual. So with that introduction, I want to welcome both you, and thank you for your patience, and to welcome our two distinguished guest faculty and speakers today. To my left is Andrew D. Bashago, American chrononaut. And to my right is Bernard Mendez, also a former member of the 1980 to 83 jump room program, secret teleportation program. Both Andrew and Bernard were in that program, and with a third member, all three have now gone public. The third member is William B. Stillings, and they have just been here over the weekend, and we've been filming the second forum in the form of classes on various topics related to time travel and teleportation. But now with three whistleblowers coming forward, and I can say now that the news story of Bernard Mendez coming forward has actually been featured in the Wall Street Journal, in yesterday's Wall Street Journal, and in MSNBC, in the online version. So we're starting to make our inroads into the matrix, into the mainstream with exosciences. So this is all happening. And what we'll do tonight is cover the areas of time travel and teleportation, conclusions from the CIA jump room program, 1980 to 83. Now, we're going to be talking for about 90 minutes, and we'll take a break. During that time, there are index cards and pencils here. If you have any questions, please jot down all the questions you have. We'll collect them during the break, and after the break, our speakers will answer these questions. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to start now, and what I'll do is to address a series of questions to both of our speakers, because they have had slightly different histories within the program and have slightly different interpretations of what they saw. And now, with three whistleblowers coming forward, it's like a stool. A stool is stable when you have three. So I'd like to ask Andy first. Andy, how have your colleague Bernard Mendez findings and his assertion that, yes, he was in the 1980 to 83 CIA jump room program, that you were in it, that you participated together in it, and so was William B. Stillings, that he fully affirms everything that you've been saying, although some of your interpretations are slightly different. But how has Bernard Mendez's findings impacted your present evaluation of your experiences in Project Pegasus, that is from 68 to 73, and in the jump room program, that is from 80 to 83?
Well, certainly on the experiential level, when I was involved in Project Pegasus as a child, between 1968 and 72 in real time, we were involved in a range of time travel probes that ran the gamut from conventional remote viewing of distant targets in real time, what you might call psychic time travel, through intermediate forms of time travel, for example, chronovision, where holograms of past and future events were being propagated that we were standing in and being displaced to those locations in time-space, all the way to physical forms that is to say bodily teleportation to distant locations in time-space that we would describe as the past or future. Similarly, when we were going to Mars via jump room in the early 1980s, not in DARPA's Project Pegasus, but the CIA's jump room program, when we were trained in the summer of 1980 under Major Ed Dames at College of the Siskiyous in Northern California, we were trained with the understanding that we were going to be displaced to the planet Mars. So when Bernie courageously came forward as the third whistleblower after myself and then William D. Stillings and now Bernard Mendez, on one level, the political and the social level, he affirms my experiences, and so I'm deeply grateful that he's come forward. Now that we have three colleagues coming forward, I think it's difficult for skeptics to claim that our account of our experiences are coming from some other cause besides actually having lived them, whether that be mistake or imagination, delusion, what have you. We now have three very serious individuals who work together and in fact were on jumps together, who have come forward and described with great detail our experiences in the jump rooms and where we were going via jump room. On the epistemological level, in terms of what Bernie brings to the debate, it's clear that there's now an alternate explanation as to whether when we were traveling in Project Pegasus, we were being displaced to the actual past and future, or to what Bernie has identified as folds in the fabric of time-space, what the astronauts called slots, and what I've invented the technical term of, simulated quantum environments, or SQEs, synthetic quantum environments. It's Bernie's conviction that time travel is not possible. Of course, when I was sharing my time travel account regarding Project Pegasus, one of the threats to the validity of the notion of time travel is the second law of thermodynamics, which states that matter and energy in the universe seek maximum randomness. This is the so-called entropy principle. Now, the entropy principle is an established principle of physics that, as it relates to time travel, would indicate that, for example, time travel to the past is not possible because while the past exists as an idea in our mind, it doesn't exist as a domain that we can access because that domain is destroyed in the moment of the creation of the present. And so when Bernie describes this notion that when we were in the jump room program, we may have been accessing not Mars in real time, but a synthetic quantum environment that was essentially storing an event scenario that, let's say, was recorded from a previous era in Martian history. I find that very persuasive because I know in Project Pegasus, whether we're going to the past or the future, we were going to alternate environments. Now, what they may have been, these locations that I was sent to, via the gamut of time travel technologies that I was exposed to in Project Pegasus, I'm now open to the consideration that they weren't the past and the future as we would conceptualize them in the literature of time travel, but that they were alternate environments that were storing event scenarios holographically, and that the time travel technology that was then emerging in the late 1960s and early 70s was accessing those environments and not what we would conceptualize as the actual past or future. Now, there's a lot of evidence that also suggests that at least with in some of the time probes, we were accessing the actual past and future. So maybe we can distinguish some of those tonight. So Bernie brings something of great value. He not only brings the corroboration of the fact that he was a colleague of Brett Stillings and I in the CIA's jump room program of the early 80s, but he brings a measure of depth in terms of what actually was happening when I was accessing the past and future in Project Pegasus and when we believed we were going to Mars in the jump room program of the early 1980s.